Hi, I'm Brandon Raynor. Today we're going to be talking about empathy as one of the qualities that make a good massage therapist. Within the broad category of empathy, I like to include things like caring for a person and developing a trusting relationship between the practitioner and the client or patient. So empathy involves basically tuning into a person, sensing how they feel, sensing eventually where they're tight, how are their energies that are trapped in this tension feeling for the person. Okay, so for many people it can take some time to develop empathy, but it's also almost symbolized by some ancient sayings, like the word namaste in Sanskrit. Namaste is like, I recognize the spirit in you. In ancient Hawaiian, they have the aloha. Aloha is a spiritual greeting. I recognize the spirit in you. And it's a connection. It's an energetic connection. It's an energetic awareness that you're making, that this person is not just their physical body. It is not just a hunk of meat that we're working on. Okay, we don't work on dead people. We're working on a living person. And when you have good empathy, you're tuning in to that person on a mind, body, and spirit level. And you're caring for that person, and you're trying to help them. So that is something that makes a very important quality that makes a good massage therapist. That feeling, for example, from the patient's point of view or the client's point of view, that I'm being cared for, plus this person sees things in me that sometimes I don't even see in myself. They see where I'm holding tension. I might just have a general feeling, oh, I feel a bit stressed out. I feel like brain fog is the common term that people are using these days, where their mind isn't focused. They might have these general feelings, but the therapist can actually pinpoint exactly where this is coming from and the connection between the physical body and the mind and emotions and even the spirit. And that's a good empathetic practitioner. So sometimes it can take time to develop empathy. It can take time to tuning into the chi. Many people ask me, well, how do you develop an ability to feel chi or life force? Chi means life force in Chinese. It's translated as ki in Japanese and different terms. In that way, it's actually similar to many of the ancient martial arts schools, which is where a lot of Chinese medicine came from. Whether it be the Shaolin monks who practiced Kung Fu, it's one of the major areas of Kung Fu. They were practicing quite strict regimes of routines that they practiced in their life, being vegetarian, not drinking alcohol, not taking intoxicants, so that their awareness was clean and pure, in a sense, which it comes down to the Ayurvedic concept of sattva, or purity. Again, the lack of consumption of alcohol and of not making your consciousness feel all cloudy through drugs. And in the Eastern traditions, like I say, of martial arts and of Ayurvedic medicine, it's of not eating meat as well, because of the effects of that clouding a person's sense of awareness. So that's some of the areas. Of course, many people then will practice things like Qigong or Tai Chi from the Chinese perspective, or they may practice pranayama or different yoga things from an Ayurvedic perspective, in order to increase their awareness, okay, of life force. These are things that will help you to develop your empathy. But it's also about just always thinking of client-centered care. And that's a very, very important thing that distinguishes a good therapist from a not good therapist, is somebody who puts their client first. How can I help this person? It's about intention. From intention, your actions will follow, and your awareness will start to increase. If you think, how can I help this person? That's one of the core things. And of course, that sounds like a very simple thing, like, oh yeah, well that makes sense. But so many people that I've been to and many other people have been to when they've been for a massage, the intention of the person is not actually there to help the person. It's like, how can I get through my routine? How can I earn my money? How can I impress this person and make them think that I'm amazing? Or how can I do this or that or the other? But those three are the main ones. Impressing people to oh, aren't I incredible? Maybe they speak a particular way, and oh, aren't I amazing? It's what I call the health professional ego. That will get in the way of empathy. Or it's just not really caring and just going through the motions. That's another thing that I call it, just going through the motions. You're just practicing. You're not treating the person like a person. You're treating them like a hunk of meat, and you've got a routine. Routine massage leads to a lack of empathy, in my opinion. Of course, not always. You know, you can have an empathetic person that's doing a routine, but through empathy, you should then come up with a diagnosis where a certain person needs massage in a particular way or particular pressure, which a routine doesn't service. That's why I teach people not to engage in a routine, but to learn to feel. Another thing is to develop that sense of feeling that's so important, is we have to come out of our head. When I first started massaging, I was a university student or you know, had been studying at university, was very much caught up in my mind and thinking, and I wasn't able to tune into my fingers. So I had to shut up my mind. I had to tell my mind sometimes, just shut up and feel. Shut up and feel. And many times I had to do this, just become aware. Let your fingers do the walking, become aware. And that comes down to also, one of the histories of massage in a lot of Asian countries was that blind people were very, very good at massage. And in some countries it was a reserved profession for blind people. And that's because without seeing with their eyes, they had to develop, in many cases, not always, but in many cases, they had to develop a stronger sense of touch and awareness. So some massage schools actually get people to do a massage blindfolded. But what I recommend is at least just closing your eyes sometimes and really going into your hands. What am I feeling? Not letting your mind sabotage it and go, I can't feel anything. Just feel and build up that wealth of experience by feeling 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people. And you will then have that knowledge upon what to draw upon. Where are they tight? What is tension? How does that tension relate to the person? By watching what I call the micro and the macro. The micro being the small picture. The small picture is on working on the side of a finger. The big picture is how is working on the side of a finger affecting a whole band of tension that could be affecting the person on a mental, emotional, or spiritual level. Could be bringing up a lot of old emotion for the person. So we're paying attention to the micro, which is the small picture, and the macro, which is the whole person. So experience will develop empathy for you as well. But like I say, coming out of your mind, doing some deep belly breathing, calming your mind down, and just focusing on feeling. Whether you're a beginner at it, you need to do this, or whether you're an experienced practitioner. And that's why I often recommend even doing a deep breathing meditation before you massage people or before you start your day of massaging people. Calm your mind and come into your feeling. Okay? Even in Hawaiian massage, they talk about massaging with the spirit of aloha. Spirit of aloha means coming from your heart energy, caring about people. It's about love. It's about caring for the person. How can I help this person? And that will then translate into your fingers, that the person will feel that love, they'll feel that aloha, they'll feel that care, and that will develop trust. I always say that we have to develop what I call the bridge of trust. We have a person, we don't know this person, we're coming in, we're developing a relationship. It's a relationship, a professional relationship, following codes of conduct, but it's a professional relationship where you're there to assist them in getting rid of their tension. They have to trust you. That can take some time. But coming from that space of care, they will sense that. Okay? So that will help build that bridge of trust. From that bridge of trust, then a person can feel safe and comfortable to go into sometimes difficult to face emotions. So if a person's body has become tight, due to repressed emotions, when you're massaging them, those emotions can come up. And if a person doesn't feel that they can trust you as the practitioner, they will push them back down. They'll keep what I call the social mask up, instead of just letting out whatever it is that's troubling them. But with a bridge of trust, and where you're encouraging them to just, if feelings are coming up, let them out, then the bridge of trust will enable that to happen. Okay, so trust is so much important part of it. All right, so that's all considered part of empathy. Empathy is caring. It's about intention. It's about the care, the professional love, the aloha that we give to a person when we're massaging them. And it's about that some people might call it like extra sensory perception, but it's actually more about sensing. It's about that sensing of life force. Like I say, that cultivation. If we cultivate chi through qigong, if we cultivate our awareness of our own chi through breathing, through yoga, whatever it may be that cultivates that awareness, then we can bring that in when we massage. So massage becomes more like an ancient martial art, except that it's designed around healing and caring for people, finding and getting rid. So to sum up, empathy is basically to understand what another person's feeling. It's not to make it where when a person, say for example, is having an emotional release and they're crying or letting go of some sort of deep pain or deep anger, that you're having to also experience that. That will occur sometimes, where if you haven't dealt with your deep pain or your anger and somebody's having an emotional release, that will bring yours up. But as a professional practitioner, you want to actually work on yourself as much as possible so that people aren't accessing it. So good empathy is not being disabled by a person having an emotional release or picking up, in fact, everybody else's emotions. It's actually having a boundary there, but you're actually still able to perceive where a person's emotional state is or where their consciousness is. But from that perception, then you come up with a strategy with which you can help them. All right, so it's having a boundary up where you're not picking up any emotion from the person or bad energy or anything, but you're then being able to help them. So it's a foundation stone of being a good therapist. And I'm sure you can imagine and have a think about it. What is getting a massage like from somebody with a great sense of empathy, and what is getting a massage like from somebody with a very poor sense of empathy? Okay, and I'm sure if you get enough treatments, you'll experience both of them, and you'll understand why it's such an important quality and a foundation stone of a good therapist. So thanks for listening on this lecture, and we look forward to the next one.